see. Alrighty. Go back to FreeCAD. And today in FreeCAD we are going to design it's going to be a new style of bait. I'm not quite sure what exactly to call it. I'm going to call it the wiggle jig. But it's not really like any other style of bait that I'm familiar with, at least. And we're going to do it entirely in the part workbench. What the idea is, though, is I don't know if you guys have ever seen, like, let's do worm with nose weight. If I can spell that right. Fishing. Is it called a Tokyo rig?
This might be the most unique way you'll ever fish a soft plastic. It's called the Tokyo rig, and it's gonna give your bait a whole different look. All you need is your favorite soft plastic, a bullet weight, and these pre-rigged Tokyo rigs. You can make your own, but
ain't nobody got time for that.
The design keeps your bait just off the bottom while the weight kicks up silt and rocks below it, and that means your bait stays looking natural while still drawing attention from back.
This is the idea here. Weight in the front and standing up vertically like that is the idea. Except instead of a soft plastic, I'm going to make it a 3D printed hard plastic bait. And there's a number of different reasons to do that. One's just durability of the bait. Two is I think we can do some very interesting things with the internal cavities to get the weight to behave differently. So what I'm thinking is kind of like we'll do multiple control copy, control paste. It's not gonna let me do that. Interesting. I thought you could do that. There it goes. It's because I was in the task menu. But something kind of like this, where like each of these body segments are gonna be probably do like 4 body segments, and there'll be a joint here, here, and here. The weight will be in the nose. The line tie will be here. Might do some rattles in this section, and then in this section it'll be a hollow air cavity, so that the balance of the weight while it's in the water will be basically nose down in the dirt, line tie here, air cavity up here, hook up here, and then so when you pull it, like if the line tie is here and you pull it, it'll have an action where the nose will go this way and it'll like wiggle and then sink back down to the bottom is the idea. Yeah. So to do that, I already have kind of the basic profile laid out. I probably want about 3-inch bait overall would be a good size. So how big are these ellipsoids? Two, 4, 4. So that's not very big. I'm gonna want it to be, I'm gonna put a cube down for scale, and then we'll edit the cube and make it 3 times 25.4 to make it an even 3 inches. Except wrong way. And then we'll just do that there. There we go. And then that's gonna go back to like 20. I guess 10's fine. Make it 30. And then wanna place the cube. -10. 0. -4. Yeah. And then -15. Why wouldn't it? Alright, I don't like that. That was weird. Let's try this again. -4. 4. And then this, I want 30 and 3. Okay. Now that gives me a reference to work off of. And I will make these ellipsoids. I need to edit. Let's make it eight millimeters by I guess this is going to be the head. 8 by 12 by 15. I'll just... I'm actually going to delete those, and then the placement. This is at -4 already. So this I just want to be 0, actually. And then the cube, or I'm sorry, the ellipsoid, I want to be half of 15. So 15 divided by 2. Or no, just 15. Yeah, and I just realized my stream title is not actually accurate, so I'm going to go back and... can I rename the stream from here? That's not what I want. Whatever. Because I'm not designing a crankbait. Just keep on rolling. Something like that. I think I want this first ellipsoid to be a little bit smaller, actually. That's pretty... Yeah, we can do like that. Okay. And then I probably want this ellipsoid to be... Oops. A little bit smaller too. Maybe like that. And I'll make this a little bit yeah. Okay. And then we'll copy that, paste that, transform. I think I'm going to have to make these a bit smaller. Something like that. But I still want a fairly thick body. I don't know if this looks quite right. Yeah, I think that's kind of more what I'm going for. This one might be a little bit too fat, though. I might have to do... I might have to do it in more sections than I really want to, I think. Just to get it to look right. Yeah, that looks better. That might be too much. Okay, I can run with that. And then we're gonna transform this up there, right there. Okay. And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I think I want this to be a bit fatter. You can make this one a little fatter too. Am I happy with that? I think so. And then just to clean it up. Okay. So then we're going to select all the ellipsoids and fuse them. And then cut off half of them. And then we're going to make a simple copy, scale it down, by say 90%. Come over here. And then need to think about how to center it exactly. I don't like that. We're gonna scale again. Let's try non-uniform. And then I want it. Let's try 0.9, 0.9. I guess. Which way is my front? That way is my front. So Y would be forward. So I'll do 2.97 and 0.9 and 0.9. And we'll see how that looks. I could do the math to figure out exactly what it should be, but I'm not going to do that. That looks a lot better. That looks a lot better. And hopefully, alright, so now we can make a shell. Select that, do a cut. Now we got a hollow body. And I was aiming for this to be like from here to here to be roughly a millimeter. So we'll see how we did there. And that's about perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. About a millimeter. Okay. It's kind of like a loaf of bread, isn't it? That's not what we're making, though. How thin does it get there? So, okay, whatever. It should work fine. All right. Do file save so we don't lose our progress. And then this will actually be interesting. How am I going to do the next parts? Because I plan on making this jointed, so there needs to be enough material here to make that joint. So I need to think about how I'm gonna do that. Maybe I did the scale on the cut too soon. Let's do this again. And then we're gonna go ahead and do everything we want to do to make it a multi-section bait, and then we're gonna create a copy, scale it down, and then make it hollow that way, so that the walls will all be in the interior where we want them. So let's do that. Edit cube, we're gonna make it 30 1/2 and 30. Doesn't really matter. And then we will no, placement. Placement's more precise. Move it up. And then move it about there. And then move it about there. And that ought to be, that ought to be good. Okay. And then we'll do a copy paste, transform. No, again, want to do placement. And about right there will work. Copy paste. And there should do it. There we go. I don't really like where this one's at exactly either, so why don't we do alright, that looks better too. And then we'll copy and paste that. And alright, I think we're back. Yep, we're back. Okay. Alright, so those are going to be the sections. And now the way that we do the joints, I need to have this make a V shape. So we're going to do that by another cube. We got to edit the cube. Give it some length. And and then transform it to be, so this will be 45-degree cut, and then we do transform again. Not an exact science. and then we should be able to play with the placement, position rather. Why isn't that doing it what I want it to do? There we go. And then I should be able to come up here, 18. So then we want this to be 18 and a half. We want it to be half the width of this. So we'll be in the middle. And then we want to move it up, say down. And then that will ensure that there's room in here for the pin. Except I think I only want it 2 millimeters. That ought to do it. Copy paste. And I am gonna have to edit it. That ought to do. And then that's at 29.7. So this is going to be 29.7 plus 0.25. Yep. And then we'll do a copy and paste. And then do, this one's at 42.65, so this will be 42.65 plus 0.25, and then we'll do another copy and paste. And this one's at 56, so this one will be at 56.25. Okay. And then, now that that's set up, we can make these, well, we can select all our cubes, create a union. Do I want to do a cut at this point? Well, I don't think I want to do the scale yet, but I will do that cut. And now it's set up. That's going to be a really interesting bait with multicolor filament. Yeah, that's going to be... It's going to be a strange bait. Alright. And then what we'll do... Now we got to set up the rings. And this will be... I'm going to want 2 snap rings per 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then I need to make, yeah, I'll need to make that cylinder. So I'm going to transform the cylinder this way. And then I got to edit it so the height of 3 millimeter. We're making the cuts to do the snap ring install to make it a jointed bait. It's a 6 millimeter snap ring. We're going to want some clearance, so why don't we say if we do a millimeter clearance on either side, that's not really going to be enough. So if we make the radius 4, that should be enough room. So the snap ring's not hitting on anything. Okay. And then we're going to, it's going to be the same place. Maybe I shouldn't have done the cut yet. But it'll be the same placement as these cubes. So placement 18, placement 18, and then we can go in the X, shift it down 2, maybe 3. Let's do 3, 2.5. Split the difference, 2.5. And then we will copy and paste that and position it at -2.5 to mirror that. Maybe it's not an exact mirror. I'm gonna have to go up a little bit more. Right there. Right there looks good. We copy those. Copy those. That's at 29.7. 29.7. And 29.7. Okay. And we're just going to keep doing that. Alright, so this one's 42.65, so those gotta be, which one's that one? $42.65 and $42.65. Copy, paste, and then those gotta be 56. So these two should be 56. I'm just really realizing I need to add 25 to all these to get them actually centered. Okay. Because if you look, that's just a little bit off center. So So we'll go ahead and add a 1/4 millimeter to all these. Get them nice and centered up. Two, 5. Plus 0.25. Plus 0.25. And plus 0.25. Alright, those should be centered with those cuts to make the... Go ahead and hide these. Those should now be centered with those slots so that we can create those joints and make it a jointed bait. Alright. So then I will go ahead and do these cuts. And now when we go in and put in those those pins, those snap rings will have clearance. Alright. Now comes an even more fun part. I think I was... Alright. So the thickness tool doesn't work. Da 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 da. Well, what if I do this? Convert to solid. Alright. Now, what if I try the thickness tool? Oh, look at that, it worked. And then it told me to make it negative. Null input shape. Okay. So what if I select that face? Thickness. Command not done. Sometimes alright, I know it doesn't like it. It doesn't like it because it's treating each one of these it expects these faces to form a closed loop, and they're not. That's why it doesn't like it. So what happens if I do file, export, save that, file, save, file new, file, import that step file, and then it's seeing it as a linked object. That's not what I want. Okay. Still not working. So then what if I do... Well, I can do this, but it's gonna be tricky. Alright, there's just that piece now. And then thickness. -1. thought that was gonna work. What if I do this? Convert to solid. It's already solid. Create a simple copy. Null input shape. Alright. I can figure this out. We're getting... What if I... might as well be walking on the sun. Okay. It's not gonna work. There's gotta be a way to do it. What if I try the part design thickness tool? No. There's got to be a way to do this. Let's try this. Alright, well that works. So then why didn't it work? That. How do I select? How do I turn this into multiple bodies? Work with explode compound or split tools to separate volumes into individual bodies are interesting. Interesting. Explode compound. So how do I do that? Explode compound. this is interesting. Now what if I do a file export? Step. And then import that. And then do part. Convert to solid, already is a solid. And one faces, done. That didn't work. What was that called? Part compound, explode compound. I am struggling with. Well, maybe. That did not work. Okay, so what if I do this? Convert to solid. one pipe. Command not done. Scan. Okay, yeah. I don't get it. I don't get it. All right. This is where it's going to get interesting. Save this. A file, export, save. Okay. File, import, open. Okay. And then we're going to do part design, create a shape binder. Okay. Okay. And then thickness. Okay.
Can't tell if they're farting or pooping. It smells terrible. Did someone poop?
The one me.
Did someone poop?
Active body. Failing to make a thick solid. Alright. Then what if I do this? So you've discovered the culprit of who is farting.
I figured it out. It's farts like Arlo.
That's
He ripped one right in front of me.
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm glad he is living his best life. Well, that didn't work.
He's a gassy boy. You gassy boy. You stinky boy.
I don't know why it's not working. It's gotta be because of the geometry of it. I don't know. I don't know why else it would be doing this. Well, what if I go back here? Hide all those. Go back here. And look at just this one. And try thickness on this one. Split compound. Null input shape. Convert to solid. Already is a solid. This is getting frustrating. All right. Part. Let's create a shape element copy. Create a simple copy. Thickness. Okay. Part. Check geometry, run check. Hmm. Reverse shapes. What's that? Part. What if I mirror it? And then join them. Why didn't that work? Delete that. Delete that. Close. What if I... Where was it? Mirror it. And then connect them. And then do a thickness. No. Nope, that didn't work. What in the world? Why is this not working? I really want to figure out how to get this to work. It shouldn't be that hard. I don't understand why this isn't working. It has to be because of like this. So what if I'm gonna try something here. Cancel. 3mm. Make them all 3mm. Okay, that's what. It should do what I need it to. Well, here, instead of doing that, I'm going to do File New, and I'm going to try to recreate the issue with simple shapes and figure out a workaround. Other way around. There we go. And then cylinder. Something like this. And then betting it's not gonna let me do thickness. Yeah. Same issue. Okay. So then if I come in here and instead of a cylinder do something like this. Will this work? No. Alright. Get rid of the cube. Will this work? No. Alright. It doesn't like that at all. I am running into so then how do I get around that? Alright, well I guess I can't do it that way. That's just not gonna work. So I guess now here we are. Cylinder, it's gonna need to be radius 5 millimeters. I know what I could do. Just make it 4.75, and then for that cylinder, make it a bit longer, and then that way the nose will stick out from the front. That will work just fine. That will work just fine. I just really wish it worked back here. I mean, there's always .0% infill with 2 walls. So we'll try that. Alright. And it's cylinder, 0.7 radius, height 30. Sure, whatever. Then transform, rotate, move down. Okay. And placement is going to be like Y15. Uh, 16.5, sure. And then copy paste, placements. 20, 19. Okay, that'll work. And then we'll do copy paste, placements. 28, 2. Placement. 32, 31, 7. Cool. Okay. And then we'll do copy and paste, paste. And then these I think are gonna be like 45, 44.7. That'll do. And 42, 41. Point one. Okay. And copy, paste, paste. And these will be like 53. 4.2, 0.34. Yeah. And then 55, 56, 57. 6, 7, 8. That ought to do. Go ahead and make the cuts. And then I really wish I could shell that, but I can't. But I can still do the rattles. I think I want to rattle in each one of these. And to do that, I'll make this 3 transform. That's a little big. A little bit big. So the rattle that I want to use is a .177, which is 4.5 millimeter. So really, if I'm above 2.5, it should work. Try 2.6. That looks better. That should be enough to get the rattle that I want. And transform. Probably about there. And copy and paste and paste and transform and transform. It's about centered there. And transform. That's about center there. We'll go ahead and make those cuts. And then I need to add the hook hanger. I really wish I could make this one hollow. It doesn't want to be hollow. All right. Seven. And copy and paste. Transform. And then we'll do might as well make them longer. And okay. Make that cut. Make this cut. And then we gotta add our line tie, which would be like down in here. So edit cylinder radius 7. Transform. And then I'm gonna want it like up there, kinda. Probably. This is gonna get busy. Suppose I can shift these rattles over here. Why don't I do that on this one? And I'll do like there. Well, this is interesting because now I only need the hook hanger on one side. So I can do this, mirror it, and then come back. No, don't want to do that because I want to move. Yeah, I want to move that up there. Move that to about. That's not going to work. Try it. Copy, paste, transform. Yeah, see, god dang it. Okay. There we go. So how am I going to get that hook hanger where I want it then? Because I want the hook hanger. I mean, I guess I could make the hook hanger span like a V and go diagonally. So something like 1, 2, 3, something. Right there, and then down some, and then like that. Okay, that ought to work. Mirror this. Whoa. I didn't even know you could do that. Interesting. Why won't it let me delete it now? There we go. Mirror it over the correct plane this time. I said mirror it over the correct plane this time. There we go. And then there's our hook hanger. All right. And why don't I make yeah, I thought it looked a bit small. We'll just make it 1 millimeter. I don't know, that might be a bit large. Actually, why don't we just make it 0.8 millimeter then? Okay. And then what I'll do is file save. And then file export. Save, yes. Okay. Open up. Orca. Okay. 2 wall loops, top shell, 0, 0, bottom shell layers, 0. See what that does. I forgot I also wanted 0 infill. Infill. 0. 0 infill. We'll do 3 top layers. I think that actually gets me really close to what I want. You know, I think... Let's try something here. Let's go back to FreeCAD. I don't need those. I don't need these anymore. Don't need those. So now I can just go ahead and go boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And then file save. File export, save, yes, okay. And then Orca, prepare, not with the old and with the new. And lay flat with 0 bottom layers. Slice. And I think that gets me what I want. I don't really like that. It should be fine. Perfect. Cool. Clone. Actually, no. Delete that. Go back to Orca. Delete that. FreeCAD. And then I want to go to I think this one. Mirror that. Yeah. No. There we go. And then transform. $180. Shift it over. Okay. And then that is our bait. Okay. File. Export. Yes, okay. And then go to Orca file, import. Big ol' jig. And then slice. This one ought to do it now. Okay. Device is not on. Alright, turning the device on. And we'll try again. Sure. There we go. Turn the light on. And we should be printing. All right. Now I wonder. That's that. Thanks for watching, everybody.